Al was the last after he died. Liquidated everything.
I inquired. Or at least
But you have, you're right,
So you might want to.
What's that?
I played with Boston.
Ooh, that's
Apparently he's
nice.
very good in the challenges.
I called him at noon to see if there were any fires brewing. I didn't hear any. You know something I don't?
Who else was there? Weber. I think somebody else was there. So we played a dozen games.
At 1 o'clock, another, and one after 9 with Seabrook.
Hey, man. Let me get this going.
He said
He really doesn't want to leave.
he's really a big one.
That's really just like, so the fact of the matter is, he should be several.
My daughter's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Never seen her lose.
Yeah. Any college scholarship?
Okay. Looking forward.
Then
Alrighty
maybe,
Most of the kids, I don't think it's that big. No,
I watched the part of it.
Why are there not that many?
Hey, how are you? What's the reason was,
Yeah, give me that shot. I don't think it's good. He was, he played,
I have your announcement.
you also,
And he tried all
what's that?
that.
What's good? 5 minutes after the game, so. Ready to seat instead?
Maybe before I retire.
That's why I said, gotta leave.
Shoulder replacement.
Doing all right, man. Crazy, right? I am not. It's crazy.
Somebody wrote a letter to me, but I can't.
So what?
Co-star.
It's nutty. And the CFO quit.
No way.
The DA's about to quit. Mayor quit, CFO quit, and the DA. Who signs the check? Hey, Mark. Mitch. Sure.
Well,
Eric, I think we have that proclamation. Yes, you have a copy of that, or do you need to make a, can you print it out? I think so, yeah. Okay. Do you mind? No.
It's something I didn't even think of from the season before. Sorry, not great. You ready, man?
Are we at 6:30?
no, it's right.
5:30? Okay.
Get that down.
Let me just have Erica come back in.
But, I didn't know I was trying to.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's nobody from the groom side of the family?
Seriously?
We're going here for a second.
All right.
Actually, that's one of those things I don't know.
We'll start the meeting tonight. If you can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wish to announce the 48-hour notice is required under the Open Public Meetings Act, was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Coast Star, and the New Coaster on December the 18th of 2025. That a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the borough office and that a copy has been filed with the municipal clerk. Please be advised, public attendance for meetings through Zoom is not mandatory and a courtesy only. If for any reason Zoom fails or is disconnected, the in-person meeting will continue without interruption, and action can and will be taken, providing that there is an in-person council quorum. Mr. Noble, excused. Ms. Greenblatt?
Here.
Mr. Carr?
Here.
Mr. Nowicki?
Here.
Mayor Gubitosi, excused.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome you all tonight. No, I am not Mayor Gubitosi, nor am I Council President Jane DeNoble. I'm actually third tier here, along with these two other councilmen. But honestly, I'm very happy to run this meeting tonight, and hopefully I'll do justice to the mayor's role and answer as many questions as I can. So, welcome everyone. Presentations and bids is the next item on the agenda, and we do have a proclamation. About 2 weeks ago, we dedicated a beach sand toy library at the Lorraine Avenue beach entrance. And we'd like to put into the record the proclamation for all the volunteers who helped put this together. So this is the establishment of the first Bradley Beach Community Toy Library. Whereas the Borough of Bradley Beach is proud to foster initiatives that strengthen community spirit, environmental stewardship, and family-friendly experiences for residents and visitors alike. As a new community endeavor, the toy library will provide access to shared sand toys and beach play items during the summer season, encouraging reuse, sustainability, and neighborly cooperation. And whereas the Beach Toy Library operates on the simple principles of borrow, enjoy, return, and donate, allowing residents and visitors to freely avail themselves of beach toys while visiting the beach. And whereas the borough is determined to establish its first beach toy library as a pilot initiative with the intention of evaluating its success and potentially expanding the program to additional beach entrances in the future. And whereas the borough wishes to recognize and honor the volunteer investment of Roseanne Whitby, whose vision and dedication inspired the creation of the Beach Toy Library and who will oversee and manage its proper operation throughout the season, and further recognizes John Naples of Coastal Custom Builders, LLC, for generously building the Beach Toy Library box, contributing craftsmanship and community spirit to this endeavor. And the borough additionally recognizes Kathy Smith for designing the official Beach Toy Library sign, helping to create a welcoming and attractive feature for beach visitors. And whereas the Beach Toy Library will be located at the Lorraine Avenue beach entrance throughout the 2026 summer season and will commemorate its opening Friday, May 22nd at the Lorraine Beach Avenue entrance, celebrating the power of volunteerism and community partnership. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Bradley Beach do hereby recognize and celebrate the establishment of the borough's first ever Community Beach Toy Library and extend sincere appreciation to all those whose efforts made this initiative possible. In witness thereof, we hereunto set our hands and cause the seal of the Borough of Bradley Beach to be affixed on the 22nd day of May 2026. And thank you again to everyone who contributed to this.
I will tell you, I saw a gaggle of kids.
Oh, you did?
Oh, they went down the stairs. They actually had some beach toys, and they went down the stairs, and it was like Christmas.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hopefully it'll remain filled and people will return things and donate things. So next on the agenda is the approval of minutes. And I just want to point out that there was an inadvertent omission on the last council meeting to include the May 5th executive session minutes. So we're adding that to our approval. So right now I make a motion to approve the May 5th, 2026 executive session minutes, the May 19th council business meeting minutes, and the May 19th executive session minutes.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble excused. Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi excused.
Thank you, Erica. And
Thank you.
now to public comments pertaining to this 6-4 agenda items only. Is there anyone who has any questions or comments they'd like to share? Anyone on Zoom? Okay, that's pretty easy. Next up are ordinances, and we have 2 ordinance adoptions. And I will now refer to Councilman Cart for ordinance 2026-24.
Great. So this was an ordinance amending our zoning, chapter 450, for relief for groundwater compliance. This ordinance was originally introduced to address some challenges associated with the groundwater compliance. As you know, we recently had passed an ordinance where basements were to be constructed with a minimum separation of 3 feet between the lowest basement floor and the documented seasonal high water table. Used to be 1 foot, so we caused that to go up 2 feet. The ordinance now provides a very narrowly defined mechanism for limited building height relief. And so it gives the ability for people who can prove that they are running into a hardship because of the seasonal water table and the ability to go up 3 feet from that level to be able to increase the height of the building 2 feet. And the height of the building depends on which zone they're in and on the size of their lot. After the introduction of this ordinance back in April, our land use board and our board planner reviewed the ordinance, found it to be consistent with our master plan. They made some minor clerical changes and have sent it back to us for adoption today. Thank you.
Up to 2 feet. Up to 2 feet.
Up to, yes, it's not automatically 2 feet, yes, yeah.
Whatever the water actually is.
Yes, and it's important to note that it is just for people who are affected by the groundwater. I've heard some anecdotal stories about people already calling and saying, hey, I see you passed a new ordinance that it's now up to 37 feet. I'd like to, it's like, no, that's not the case.
It's the exception.
Yeah. And there's also some definitions which say what kind of documentation you need to provide as well.
And it also defines basements, crawl spaces.
And cellars. Cellars, yes.
That's clarification.
Okay, any other comments or
No.
questions? Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to open up ordinance 2026-24, amending chapter 450 for public comment.
Ms. DeNoble excused. Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi excused.
Any questions?
Anyone in the public?
Thomas J. Cohen, 612 3rd Avenue. I'd like to thank the council for being receptive and moving quickly on this. I think people think, oh, well, it's 2 feet is again, the maximum, but it's also, it could be 6 inches, depending on how the house is constructed. The important thing, I think, and the message that we need to send is that this is home rule. This is us understanding how nature treats Bradley Beach. And this will really assist us a lot in terms of sump pumps and sump pumps being drained out to the street because you'll be farther away in that separation. And it's really fair. I don't think people understand that we just dodged a bullet with the New Jersey DEP real requirements, which could have made the houses 4 feet higher. So we're sending the message to the DEP that we understand our conditions and we're making adjustments for it. So I want to thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And just to tag along with what you just mentioned, TJ, there's a freeze on the real legislation by the governor for 1 year currently. So, and that's in order to really give an opportunity for verbiage and consistency.
And what was nice is they really recognized the fact that we had written letters, as many of the towns around here had written to the state about our concerns, and they listened.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there were multiple public hearings, and I participated in one, and they didn't seem to listen then. But once the legislators got involved, who really were in the dark,
Yeah.
I think then they realized, hey, this is going to be onerous for seashore towns. So we were on the forefront of it, and it shows that the system works. But this ordinance tonight also shows that you're being proactive about your environmental conditions. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? No? So I'd like to make a motion to close public comments and adopt ordinance 2026-24, amending chapter 450.
Second.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes,
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi excused.
thank you. Ordinance 2026-30 is now up for adoption as well, and 2026-30 is with regard to making changes to the applicable fees for special events. Now, up until this point, whenever there was a special event, there would either be a waiving of the fee, which means it would be zero to any of the entities that wanted to use, let's say, the promenade as a pass-through, or a $2,500 non-refundable fee. So what this ordinance does is it enables a more tiered base structure based on the use of Bradley Beach's resources. So the tiers start with a level 1, which would be $500 use, and that's no real use of our resources, and there's no refund available on that, because the fact of the matter is that there still are resources that are used and expended for the borough, even when there's no obvious resource request. Level 2 is $1,000. Minimal use of borough resources, also no refund available. Level 3 is $2,000, which is moderate use of borough resources, also non-refundable. And then the 4th level is a $3,000 minimum, and it's extensive use of borough resources. There's no refund available on the $3,000, and additional charges could be applied if it exceeds that $3,000. And that's also based on a fee structure of what resources are actually being used and expended. Does anyone have any questions on council on this?
I think the fee can still be waived.
The fee can still be waived. Yeah. And I'm not sure what would constitute waiving the fee if we start with a minimum fee with no resources used.
I think really it's if it was a borough entity that's holding the event.
Yes.
I see. So, if there are no other questions from council, I'd like to make a motion to open it to the public.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi excused.
Is there anyone who has any comments or questions? No one? Anyone on Zoom? No, there's not. So I would like to make a motion to close the public session and adopt ordinance 2026-30, amending chapter 393, special events of the borough's revised general ordinances to revise and clarify such regulations and applicable fees.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi excused.
Okay, next on our agenda is item number 10, communications. And there are none. And next up is resolutions. We have a consent agenda for resolutions 2025-156 through 2026-156, excuse me, through 2026-162. Are there any resolutions here that we'd like to pull from the consent agenda? Any questions from council? No? Okay. So I would like to make a motion to approve consent agenda resolutions 2026-156 through 2026-162. Just by the way, many of these are also approving renewal of alcohol beverage licensing. Do I have a second? Thank you.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatosi excused.
Thank Thank you. And now next up are individual resolutions. 2026-163 is the termination of the agreement with Manchester Township. And just to give a little bit of backstory, Jeanette Larison came on board in early spring of 2025, and she has basically served the borough in a 10-hour-a-week role, helping us effectively manage our budget, our finances, and get us through the 2025 budget process. The borough entered into a shared service agreement with Manchester Township, where she's employed full-time, with a 6-month agreement at 10 hours a week for CFO Jeanette Larison and bookkeeping and accounting with Heather Larsana. And according to this shared service agreement, which was established on April 1st of this year, either party may terminate within 15 days notice. And at this point, notice has been submitted, and her termination is effective June 30th, so that's at the end of this month. So what that saves us is about $30,000 with this termination. The approval for the shared service was for $56,000, and we will not be spending that amount. So we are utilizing her for 3 months of that agreement. So, are there any questions from council?
Let me just make a comment that I think is a highlight on that. The job that our CFO, Mitch Simon, has been doing speaks that it's competent and it's getting things going, getting things cleaned up and organized and moving things forward. So, and showing competency. So that's really positive commentary that we can move on from Jeanette. So thank you for all of your service to get us here. And also to our CFO, Mitch, who's taken on the reins to advance this, the town. And I know I'm talking a lot with you about some background stuff and things that we're cleaning up, and so I appreciate your diligence on these items and look forward to success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, we appreciate Mr. Syme's hard work in the borough, and we're very fortunate now to have a full-time CFO, which is something we really needed. So I would like to make a motion to approve 2026-163 termination of agreement with Manchester Township.
Mr. Noble excused. Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Carp?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi excused.
Great, thank you. 2026-164 temporary emergency appropriations. We will do this until we have an approved 2026 budget. Any questions from council?
I think a commentary maybe of what the status is of the budget and where we're at with things, whether BA or maybe Mitch.
Yes, so our budget that was introduced by the Mayor and Council has been submitted to the Department of Community Affairs. They review it, they come back with some commentary, some proposed changes, and when they propose changes, that means there's changes yet to make. So we're in the process of making those changes, working with the Department of Community Affairs. Once that's done, it'll come back to the council. At that time, we'll have a budget hearing as required, be fully open and transparent with the public, and then at that time, the Mayor and Council will have the opportunity to vote on the final budget. But as you mentioned, until then, we have to do these temporary appropriations, because we have to keep the lifeguards on, the police on, DPW going, and everything else.
Does the timeline for the hearing at our next meeting in a couple of weeks, is that in jeopardy at all because of the changes that have to be made?
That's undetermined right now. We're shooting for the 16th, but there's a chance it gets pushed into July. Again, we're working on a time frame that comes to us from the Department of Community Affairs. And I can tell you they've been very reasonable to work with. What they're pointing out and the changes they want to see, we're not contesting it. We're working with them on it. And I will also tell you, going through the budget process, next year it will be much simpler than this year. As you mentioned, Janet is moving on from us. She's been wonderful to work with, very professional, outstanding, smart, brilliant woman. And now we're moving over to a full-time CFO
unfortunately, we had hoped to have the budget adoption on the 2nd, but it was actually premature because there were a number of questions that came from the community that needed to be vetted, as well as response back from the DCA.
Right, and hopefully, you know, when we push this off a little bit, we will get more public input so that people have a better understanding. The better the public understands the budget, you know, the better it is for, you know, the more educated your populace is, you're always going to have a better functioning municipal government.
Do you have anything to add to that, Mr. Song?
I think that covered it.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for helping us through this time. So I would like to, I'm drawing a blank.
Approved. Approved the motion.
I would like to make I'm sorry, I would like to make a motion to approve 2026-164 temporary emergency appropriations.
Second.
Mr. Noble excused, Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi excused.
Right, and now I will pass 2026-165 along to our infrastructure guy here, Councilman Nowicki.
So we did, this is Resolution 2026-165 for the award of a contract to a company, Cattell Incorporated, which is the contractor who is the apparent low bidder for the extension of the promenade from 3rd Avenue to 2nd Avenue. Right now, the promenade ends at 3rd, and we went out to bid. We got our permits in place, and we have grant money from federal government as part of the Boardwalk Preservation Program coming out of Sandy, actually, that all that money has to be spent and completed by the end of this year, December 31st. So we were at risk. The previous administration had actually secured this funding to extend the promenade. And by the time everything got through and got the permits, the funding, we were up against the wall here after the engineering this last year to be able to get this contract underway. So we quickly, we worked with DEP, we worked with our land use board, got their agreement that we should be doing this. We got also the Environmental Commission on board because this is going to be disruptive. We're looking to actually temporarily put pedestrians onto the parking area on the east side of Ocean Avenue, where you currently walk out in front on the sidewalk down past the 2nd Avenue Grill or the Boardwalk Bandits. And then that area is going to be closed off for construction. There's 2 beach access points, one at 3rd, one at 2nd, that are disrupted. And so we're actually going to put in temporary stairwells to be able to access the beach at those locations to maintain access. The bathrooms will remain open at 3rd Avenue, and then the steps to get onto the beach, we moved a little bit to the north, right near the bathrooms to come up and down, and the lockers are going to be moved and relocated, as well as some of the mats that the mats walk on down to the beach. So there's a major plan of how to try to minimize the impact to the public. Now, I'm saying that, but construction is a dirty business, and there's going to be disruption. And so we're going to do everything we can, working with the chief and with the traffic directors, the contractor. We're going to be doing monitoring. We've already starting that process for endangered species, but to make sure there's no birds nesting in the dunes when we begin the construction. And if we do, we'll potentially take different measures or delay construction. So there's a lot of pieces that have to get done and coordinated to do this. The contractor's bids just came in on Tuesday. We got the Patel is the low bidder at $2.575 million. That is under the engineer's estimate and within the bond funding that we're getting from the federal government. It's a 5% match. That's 5% of the up to $4 million, $4.2 million of federal money. We have a 5% match, which would be $200,000, which is pretty small. The contract is only at 2.575 to do this extension between second and third. But we can also include in that all the total funding, all the engineering costs for the design, permitting, as well as the construction management that has to happen. Traffic directors, all of that is going to be included underneath this contract. So although the bid is at 2.5, there's contingency that goes on top of that up to 20%. So that number does start to go up with all the other pieces, but we are still under the limit that the federal government will reimburse us. So it's good news. There may even be some additional funds, and we don't have to use that contingency money for actual work that we program. We might be able to do some additional work. We're looking at options around that, around the bathrooms that are maybe at Third Avenue, temporary ramps that we could put in some permanent ramping and other areas along the promenade that we need. So there may be some flexibility to use up the rest of that money, and so we're looking into that.
So that would be outside of the 20%?
No, that would be included in the 20%.
As part of the 20%.
But we are talking to DCA and to see whether or not there's any options that we could actually bring in another contract. So public contracting law requires that you can only increase, once you award the contract, up to 20% above that contract value. But we may have the opportunity to do other work with such a contract. For example, have JCP&L do the lighting, provide the lighting within that funding of the grant, but not be part of that actual 20% of the contract. So this is all about trying to get to the max, use up all that money from the federal government, but keep all the costs packaged to be under that limit, and so to maximize the use of federal money to build out as much as we can, and mitigate the impacts to the public and maintain beach access throughout the construction. There's some other complications that we've introduced here as well, because the work on Silver Lake is tied to the work on the promenade, because we are taking excavation. We're replacing on along Bradley Boulevard along the way, where the snow fence is, the dune fence is up there right now. That wall we're replacing, and to replace that wall, we're going to be digging out 6 foot wide of material that needs to get disposed of. We've got agreement and permitted by the DEP. We can use that material underneath the promenade, which saves us a couple $100,000 of disposing of that material, and saves money on the other contract having to buy material. So that's good news. The tough part is how do we manage that and minimize the impact to the public? Because now we have to truck that dirt, and we have to define when are we doing this work, and we're into contractors, because he's going to have to truck that dirt down to the beach to where the construction is going to be between second and third, and put it where the promenade construction is going to be. So all this is a lot of coordination that has to happen, and try to minimize the impact to the public who are accessing the beach, and the community that lives all in this area. So we are trying to manage that, and we're working, like I said, with the chief, DPW. We've had our first meeting with the contractor on Silver Lake, and we're having our first meeting this coming next Friday with this new contractor for the promenade, and all that coordination will continue to happen, and we are going to have to really communicate with the public, a lot of notifications, and keeping everybody very aware of what we're going to be doing. Construction is dirty business. And we want to maintain that access to the beach as best we can. So we're going to have to really work on that.
And I know word on the street has been a little bit of anxiety that people would not have access to the beach at their normal beach entries. But the fact of the matter is that Third Avenue, Second Avenue will still have entrances to the beach. Evergreen will not.
Evergreen will also have their entrance. However, there will be times that access could be interrupted for periods of moments of time. If a truck has to get through there to move the stuff, the rock that's all piled up there, and has to move it over down by Third, we're going to have traffic directors or limit the access for certain periods of time, and then we open it for safety. And so it's going to be a really coordinated effort, and it's going to, Chief, I'm depending upon some support on this, and so I know we have it. It's going to take it's gonna take a village to, and a lot of cooperation with the public to really be patient while we do this. But we have to get this done. It's resiliency for the whole area from Third Avenue down to the pump station. Ultimately, we need to secure that because of flooding issues, and this promenade extension will armor and be more resilient than just the dunes. And so that really protects our community. So it's critical.
I know you mentioned you have an upcoming meeting with the contractor.
Yeah, the girls and.
Yeah. Is it too early to say when you think it could start and how long it would take?
No, I think, we started some preliminary conversations. The contractors have to really put their full schedules together, and there's a lot of materials that they have to order and have delivered, and so what we've asked them is to do a detailed schedule so that we can really look to see when are we going to start closing and closing areas for work zones. And we've made it clear that if you're looking to say we're going to shut things, start closing things up and setting construction zones next week, and you're not going to start any construction activity till July 10th, then we don't want to close down or set those construction zones until after 4th of July. So again, they're willing to work with us, and we're trying to coordinate that to, again, minimize impact on, 4th of July weekend, which is a big beach weekend. So if I was to guess, I don't think that any major activity will happen until after 4th of July weekend, and that's probably where it's leaning, just because of the timing for them to get materials and everything. There will be some staging, and we want to minimize, again, how disruptive that is until they're ready to go.
Will some of the staging be at the absolute south end, where it's been in the past? Just south of the Evergreen entrance, where there's sort of an area where those rocks are?
No, he's going to be staging all of the equipment and work in between second and third, between the dunes and Ocean Avenue.
Okay.
So
And the soil? Where's the soil going to?
that will end up being stockpiled
Okay.
at between second and third.
Okay. And the Second Avenue Grill will remain accessible?
Yes, that's part of the plan. And again, to try to minimize that by, there's ramping and temporary staircases and things that are all part of the contract to try to provide that access and that mobility, as well as, walking along Ocean Avenue that you're not disrupted. You still can walk, the length of Bradley and not have to cross the street to walk along the promenade.
And when the new tenants at the Boardwalk Bandit put in their bid earlier in the year, this was all discussed with them, that
Right.
this was all coming.
Right.
And so this shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, but the intention is to keep it accessible.
Yeah.
No, we discussed that with them when they put their, bid in for the concession, and there was what the construction activity was going to be, that it could disrupt their business a little bit, they were okay with it.
Yeah.
But we're also looking at where we can help minimize the disruption to them when they do. So it's going to take, like I said, a lot of communication.
And for those who may not have seen it, there is a diagram of this plan, if people want a visual as to all of the accessible points during this time. Mr. Doherty is there. Do you know where on our website it is? I believe that it was posted.
Yes, hold on one second, let me go to our website. Where is it? We'll make sure that it's posted on the front page somewhere if it's easy to find. Oh, I'm sorry, capital improvement projects.
Oh, great. Okay.
We got to get that on the front page. I think that would be good. Maybe we'll get some of the, original maps to the beach gatekeepers right there, that they can even distribute them to people. Once we know that when things are happening, we can use them to say, hey, just so you're aware, this is what's going on. People are buying beef bags.
Post something on the, I'm not just gonna say on the buildings or on the boards that have the temperature.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-165, authorization to award the bid for the Promenade Extension Project, Phase 1 to Cattell Inc. in the amount of $2,575,225.
Mr. Knoll will excuse Ms. Greenblatt.
Yes.
Mr. Park.
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki.
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi excused.
Great. So next up are announcements, and on the agenda it says none. But I would like to share a couple of things that have occurred between our last meeting and this meeting, and I'd also like to share a couple of announcements from the BBBCA and also through tourism. So the Memorial Day Parade, the weekend was a rain out, and it was a difficult decision to cancel the parade and the vendor fair, which actually funds the parade festivities. So out of respect for the vendors, the borough canceled both, which meant that the vendors were reimbursed back for their participation fees, for which they were very grateful. The Memorial Day service at the Fire Hall was a meaningful program attended by Assemblywoman Luann Peter-Paul, Fire, First Aid, Police, and EMS. We honored our fallen heroes, and the community had an opportunity to acknowledge family members who served our country. It was a really well-attended event. The raising of the 250th flag. County Commissioner Tom Arnone, Clerk Christine Hanlon, and DPW's Pat Allen helped Bradley raise the flag commemorating the semi-quincentennial of America's founding on Friday, May 29th at Riley Park. On hand were our elementary school fourth graders in full revolutionary costume. They recited all 50 states in song, not once, but twice. And thanks to Superintendent Dr. Michael Heidelberg, the fourth grade teachers, and the Monmouth County Executive Director Ted Maturo for including Bradley Beach, which was just a seaside waterhole back in 1776. The BBBCA is facilitating a Bradley Food Pantry pickup, which is this Saturday, June 6th. The goal is 400 households and 4,000 pounds to support the increasing demand and needs of our community at the food pantry. Fire and First Aid will be announcing the community pickup with their vehicles, along with over 20 community volunteers following as drivers and runners to collect donations from households. Please leave your bagged, non-perishable donations out by 9 a.m. on Saturday. And tourism is excited to host a Coastal Kickoff Soccer Expo event next Wednesday, June 10th, at the Newark Avenue Beach from 4 to 7 p.m. The expo will feature a DJ, free face painting, and games for families to enjoy. There will be a charitable collection of new and gently used sports equipment to benefit local families in need. Mark your calendars for a Beatles tribute concert taking place on Thursday, June 25th at 6 p.m. in Riley Park. For the full list of scheduled event details for tourism, please visit their official website at bradleybeachnj.gov/tourism-department. And that's it for the announcements. I'd like to follow now with the administrator's report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I have no report tonight, except to say that you look outstanding in the middle chair there.
Thank you very much. A little change from Mayor Gubitosi, but very temporary in keeping the seat warm. So now we're up for Mayor and Council reports, and I'd like to turn it over to Councilman Clark to start.
Thank you. So the Environmental Commission had their knotweed removal event at the Maritime Forest last weekend. They had over 24 volunteers who gave their time to dig and cut and help eradicate this invasive weed. I was there, and I must admit that it was my first time with Japanese knotweed, and I was picturing, oh, I'm going to be weeding like I do my lawn in my backyard. However, these are 5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot tall weeds that are incredibly invasive. They're almost bamboo-like. And just entire swaths of area have just been taken over. It's a dense forest of weeds. It looks like a crop, and it just totally kills everything around it. And so they have to continue to do that. It's not just a one-time thing. You have to constantly go back, and they have some plans for some additional dates in the future. The next one will be towards the end of July, because it's hard to cover all of that at once. They also discussed some ongoing efforts to inform and educate residents and council about gas-powered leaf blower concerns, and so expect to see some information, some surveys, some grassroots efforts to educate everybody. And they also wanted to make sure that people know that Avon is now currently looking at doing the same thing. For our fire department, for the month ended May 31st, the department responded to 10-day calls, 7 night calls, which included 14 fire alarm activations, 1 mutual aid assistant to Asbury Park. Love this one. 1 odor of something burning, and 1 carbon monoxide alarm. They had 1 department-wide training and participated in our Memorial Day ceremony. They're still looking for volunteers and offer free training for qualified individuals. Anybody who wishes to volunteer, please inquire at the borough's website. For our first aid squad, for the operational period ending June 4th, the squad responded to 20-day calls, 11 night calls, for a total of 30. 16 were for medical, 12 were for fire, 1 motor vehicle crash, and 1 water rescue. The squad provided medical cover watch for the Avon 5K and the multiple sclerosis bike ride. And of course, they were there at the Memorial Day service at the firehouse as well. They fulfilled 100% of their assignments and had 138 hours. So that number tends to grow as the weather gets warmer. They're still looking for volunteers as well, and they're accepting applications for their cadet program for young people 16 to 18 years old. And if I could put my Jane Noble hat on, for the Shade Tree Commission, as you know, we recently planted several dozen trees, and the people, there's been some questions over who's responsible for keeping the bags filled with the water, and the answer is the residents. So anybody who has gotten a tree, have to remember, so for the next couple of years, it's your responsibility to water the tree. So a couple times a week, make sure to go out, fill up those bags with water. It's only during the spring, summer, and fall. During the winter time, there's no need to keep on filling that bag with water. Make sure that it's watered, make sure that the trees are mulched, and don't do any pruning. You don't do that on a newly planted tree. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that.
And most critical when trees are first planted to do saturated
Oh,
water.
absolutely. And that's what those bags do. They're just a constant slow drip into the root system.
Right?
And that's it.
Thank you. And Councilman Nowicki?
Thank you. Police activity for this previous period. On May 20th, 5th Avenue and Main Street, a 22-year-old male from Middlesex, New Jersey, Middlesex County, was arrested for an outstanding warrant from Hoboken. He was brought to headquarters and later released after posting bail. Patrolman Anthony Bedelmenti made the report. On May 22nd, Main Street and Lorraine Avenue, a 51-year-old female was arrested for an outstanding borough warrant. She was processed and later transported to the Monmouth County Correctional Institute, pending court. Patrolman Ian Ambrose made that arrest. May 22nd, 2026, 400 block 5th Avenue, a 61-year-old male from Brandy Beach was arrested and charged with theft, assault, and harassment as a result of an investigation. Patrolman Samuel Forjot and Patrolman William Major made the arrest. On May 26th, on the 100 block of Cave Avenue, a 38-year-old male from Brick was arrested and charged with driving under the influence and received several motor vehicle summonses. Patrolwoman Gianna Trani and Patrolman Anthony Badalamenti made the arrest. During this period, officers investigated 6 motor vehicle crashes and answered several calls for service. The summer is upon us, and motor vehicle accidents are going to increase. So that's the police report. Sylvan Lake will be meeting in 2 weeks from yesterday here in this chamber. I did mention Sylvan Lake work that's ongoing, and we'll update that in the next council meeting based on as the schedules, subject home, and we're going to get communications out to keep people aware of what activity and when that's going to happen. And I would just like to mention one other thing, tied over to Sylvan Lake, but really to the Little Bradley Beach. Captain Al Jeski, who worked with me directly on the Sylvan Lake project, projects. Actually, got a study money that was leading the studies for civil rehabilitation. Also was the person behind the Maritime Force and was involved in the dunes and so many other projects here in Bradley Beach and along the East Coast. He works for the American Littoral Society. They're headquartered up in Sandy Hook, and they had a shell, pun intended, celebration where they had oysters and seafood, and just to recognize all his friends coming together and people, his associates and a lot of people who he's touched, and yourself, Councilwoman, I went up, and as well as others. But it was a really nice celebration of somebody, a resident up here up from Bradley Beach, that really made a difference to the town.
To the town and to the coastline.
To the coastline, and really, was a thought leader in moving shorelines in New Jersey and beyond. So he will be missed, but we were privileged to have him affect our community. I just wanted to mention that once again.
Thank you.
And that's my report.
Great. So I will share my report, which is always unfortunately lengthy, but it means there are a lot of activities going on. The Arts Council met June 1st. The council is in full throttle planning its annual Arts Fest scheduled for Saturday, June 27th at Riley Park, beginning 12:30 and running through 10 p.m. There will be a professional dance group, live music including Bradley's own String Bean, as well as James Maddock, line dancing, an interactive drum circle for kids and adults, art for youngsters, and more. From 4 to 6 p.m., there will be an art show at Posh Real Estate, featuring 13 local artists and refreshments from the stockroom. The day ends at Uva's Tiki Bar, where member Carol Lester has gathered musicians to perform for an after party. Arts Council merch will be distributed at the Arts Fest. Volunteers are needed to help pitch in on the day of the Arts Fest, so if you're interested, please reach out to the Arts Council or to me as the liaison to the Arts Council. No experience is necessary, but enthusiasm for arts in Bradley is always appreciated. Don't miss 2 new workshops, Ballet for Balance, June 9th and 17th, 10 to 11:30 a.m. at the Fire Hall. This is open to men and women of all ages. The class is designed to build strength and balance through the lens of ballet. Thanks to Lane DeFranco, who will be teaching these workshops. Please see the Arts Council website to register. Also this month, Abby Kahn will run a musical improvisational play shop, Thursday, June 18th, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Biazzi Center. This was a fun and well-attended event when it first ran and promises to be another free-spirited and collaborative musical opportunity for those who participate. The Arts Council will have a working meeting on June 11th to prepare for its Arts Fest. The Rec Committee met May 11th. Recreation is hosting a Father's Day kickball event Friday, June 19th at the rec field, 6:30 p.m. A $20 entry fee includes participation, t-shirt, and a meal ticket. See the rec website for details and registration. The Senior Club's next meeting is June 24th, noon to 3 p.m. at Mr. Shrimp to celebrate the summer birthdays, since they will not be meeting during the summer. They will pick up again in September. Mahjong Open Play runs every Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Biazzi Center. New in Neptune, in the Neptune City location, is Zumba, Wednesdays, 7 to 8 p.m. It's $10 at the door to participate. As with all shared programs, this is open to all Bradley Beach residents. The Rec Summer Camp program begins Monday, June 29th. Recreation is planning a first ever Camp Throwback Weekend for adults, a 3-day camp program to run August 27th through the 29th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. At $175 per person, the fee includes lunch and complimentary beach passes for all participants, as well as a camp shirt and lanyard with perks from shops, restaurants, and bars all over Bradley Beach. Also, there are still a few spots open for the Marine Science Camp, which runs July 27th to the 31st, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for ages 5 to 14 at Memorial Park in Neptune City. The Rec Committee's next meeting is Monday, June 8th at the Rec Center. And finally, the Fletcher Lake Commission met on May 14th. Commission members have been busy this spring tending to Fletcher Lake's amenities. Thanks to Sal Galicetti for planting hundreds of flowers in pots to adorn both sides of the lake. Thank you to Mark Rosenthal for replacing all the bridge post lights. And as always, thanks to our amazing DPW for maintenance staining of the bridge rails. Don't miss Fletcher Lake's spring cleanup this Saturday, June 6th, 10 a.m. to noon. It's a great community event supporting the health of our coveted North End Lake. Light refreshments will be served. The commission will next meet on Thursday, June 11th in this council chamber. And that's it for my lengthy reports. My apologies. So next up on the agenda are public comments on anything. Mr. Nishaki.
I'm Paul Mashamke, 411 Thornton Avenue. I'd like to inform everybody that the Bradley Beach Historical Society is holding an event this Sunday from 6 to 8 called Heroes of the Surf and Sand. We will be saluting our lifeguards and our surfer community. And we basically have panels of both. Former lifeguard heads Rosenberg and Johnson will be there, along with some of the active lifeguards. And the surfer panel will be hosted by former council member John Weber, and we'll have a lot of the famous surfers from Bradley Beach. And we'll be talking about the history of surfing in town and lifeguards in town. There'll be refreshments from Finn's. It should be a lot of fun. There'll be one of the surf stores from Avon. There'll be displaying surfboards and also surf gear that you can purchase. And you can register on our website at bbhistory.org or pay at the door. Thank you very much. I hope you come.
Thank you so much. Mr. Shuck?
William Shuck, 110 Fifth Avenue, Bradley Beach. During Memorial Day, I was given this book. It appears that no one ever looked into it, proofread it, or anything, because it's lies in these books. And it's a shame that this council would allow something like this to be given to all the public. In Borough Hall, on the Veterans Wall, we have over 300 names up there. Yet in this book, all I see is 20 photos, 67 names, about a dozen and a half that don't even live in this town. You know, what happened to all those names up there? Why aren't they in this book? I mean, thank you for at least posting those names of people that live in this town whose family members served and died, you know. But what happened to all those names up there? They should have been on here. I mean, if you're going to post one name, you need to post them all. You know, this is a disgrace to segregate individuals. You know, they served this country. I mean, did the councils segregate these names? Who actually segregated all those names and didn't post them? You know, what happened to George Albert? I mentioned him back in January to you about placing him in a corrected ward. I mean, his name is not even in this book. It's a disgrace. I mean, you, the council, the mayor, go to his door, knock on his door when he was alive, asking him to vote for him, but yet I don't see George Albert's name here. It's a shame. I mean, he's a resident, lifelong resident of Bradley Beach. You know, was this done through ethnicity, religious reasons? One starts to wonder why. You know, there's got to be a reason why those names weren't there. You know, born in Belgium, surviving son of Holocaust mother and father, you know, was, what you call it, drafted to serve in Vietnam as a foreigner for freedom, for against a communist country. I'm a recipient of numerous applicants from senators throughout this country as far as my services in Vietnam. I was even requested to come to the White House by President Obama to receive an award by him for wounds rendered in Vietnam, as well as my service. As an honored veteran, I find it a disgrace that a former councilman, council president, current Memorial Day committee member would post that he served in Vietnam. It's in this book. He never served in Vietnam. It's a disgrace to all the over 1,730,000 veterans that died. It's a disgrace. This should have never been given to the public. I mean, who proofreads this? Did anyone? I mean, we have members of the council that are in this book. We have Memorial Day committee members that are in this book. Nobody proofread it. I find that very hard to believe.
I appreciate your comments and thank you. I can't provide the answers as to who proofread it. You know, the three of us here are legislators, so we're really not part of that process.
Yeah, but you would have seen, I mean, you contributed to somebody's
So I know that
services, you would have read it, you would have seen it.
I know that there was the Fallen Heroes Fund and a request from the community to submit, for people to submit family members who served in the service. And I can't speak to what is on the agenda for Veterans Day versus Memorial Day. So, and I cannot speak to that list and why they might have been omitted, and what the rationale was behind it. So
Well, if I'm not mistaken, on Memorial Day, I distinctly heard Mayor Gubitosi saying that everybody had a part in this festive Memorial Day services. You know, the council and everybody.
We all did have a part. We all attended.
You had a part, so you did look into it.
I would suggest that you did bring those comments, maybe jot them down or come to the Borough Hall, meet with the mayor or Matt. I would love to get it straightened out, making sure that we are recognizing. And so if you could provide that information that you're seeing.
I just gave it to you.
I understand. We will go back to the record, but it would be even beneficial. There may be things that have even slipped your mind in your discussion just now, things that you maybe have more insight to that you can even provide. So I would welcome that discussion to be able to document and pull together a more quality document that would meet your thoughts and your needs.
Well,
so
according to this, you have.
I would suggest we come together.
William J. Duffy. He did everything. He's the greatest.
Well,
Yet he doesn't even live in town.
But he did help with pulling these information together, not just for this town, but multiple towns. Like I said, Mr. Schuck, I think what you should do is come together with the mayor or with the administrator. Let's get a quality document that meets the needs of the community and for the veterans properly. And I think your leadership, would be grateful for your leadership to help.
You don't
with
want
that.
my leadership.
No.
Nobody wanted my
Certainly your
leadership.
contribution, I know.
That's why I'm not involved in anything anymore in this town.
Well, it's a shame.
Well, it's not, it's good to me. But like I asked before, please, if you're gonna publish something of this magnitude, even for Veterans Day, please proofread it. If you're gonna post one name, you need to post everybody's name. You have to honor everyone, not just one individual, because to me, now you're segregating. Whether it's for religious belief, nationality, color, I mean, it is completely wrong.
Absolutely. There's no intent.
And for this former councilman to publish that he served in Vietnam, that's a stolen valor.
I'm not aware of what you're speaking to specifically, but I will investigate it as well.
Here you
Thank
go. I mean, it's right here in black and white. Go for it, Norm, Army, and National Guard, Vietnam. Okay?
Okay.
That's a stolen valor.
I don't know.
was that something that he submitted? Because I know people submitted family members.
The point,
To me, he submitted that.
I think the point is, we thank you for your comments. We need to take that and ensure that we have a quality document. We will follow up with that. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? None? Anyone on Zoom? Okay. Now we will move on. We do not have an executive session tonight, and I would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
We all things around.